So let's talk about it. You are never too much. You're never too sensitive. You are never too emotional. That was never the problem. The real problem, however, you were surrounded by people who couldn't meet you where you are. So they asked you to shrink. They asked you to silence, to soften. But I'm here to tell you, it's not your job to shrink so others can feel tall. Hi, my friend. I'm Kimberly, and welcome to your safe space for healing, growth, and truth. If you've ever been told you're too intense, you're too deep, you're too complicated, this video is definitely for you. Today, I want to speak to the part of you that's been dimmed, part that's been told, calm down, quiet down, stop feeling so much. Because that part of you, well, it's sacred and it deserves to be seen. Let's talk about what really happens when you're told you're too much. And why it's actually the most powerful thing about you. Let's rewind to the moment someone looked at your heart and told you it was too much. Maybe you were 7 years old, crying because your favorite toy broke, and someone said, stop being dramatic. Maybe you were a teenager, deeply passionate about justice, art, or music, and someone laughed and said, you're so intense. Maybe you were a grown adult expressing your needs in a relationship, and they told you were too emotional. In that moment, something cracked. You questioned your instincts, you pulled back. You learned how to be less loud, less emotional, less honest. And hey, the worst part, less you. The truth is, you were never too much. Maybe you need to hear that again. You were never too much. You were simply too real for the people who were still hiding. Let's get honest here. Most people are terrified of death. They've been trained to perform instead of feel, to numb instead of process, to stay surface level, because the alternative feels like maybe drowning. So when someone like you shows up, open-hearted, full of feeling, alive and aware and honest, freely, it shakes them. They don't know what to do with you. They don't know how to hold what you bring. So they label it too much, too needy, too intense. But that's not about you. That is more about them. Their emotional toolbox is too tiny. Their capacity for vulnerability is limited. Their nervous system isn't trained for real intimacy. So instead of growing, they ask you to shrink. But let's be clear. Their inability to love you properly is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their limitations. When you grow up being told you are too much, there's something dangerous that happens there. You start to abandon yourself. You stop trusting your feelings. You suppress your truth. You start scanning the room before you speak, wondering, will I be too much for them? And little by little, you start performing too. And you become a curated version of yourself. Still you, but safer, filtered, and a whole lot smaller. And while the world might applaud this quieter version of you, you don't really feel alive anymore because self abandonment might keep the peace, but it kills your spirit. Here's the most painful part. Even after all that shrinking and contorting, you're still not enough. People can't meet you where you are. Well, why, you ask? Because the problem was their smallness. Let's talk about this in a different way. What if your sensitivity isn't a flaw? What if it's actually your superpower? Think about that. You notice what others miss. You feel things that others bury. You care in a world that's gone numb. That's not weakness. That's leadership. And I know some people may be thinking, but being sensitive is exhausting. Yes, it can be, but only when you're surrounded by people who drain you instead of understanding you. Sensitivity without boundaries leads to burning. Sensitivity with awareness? Well, now that's emotional intelligence. You don't need to be less sensitive. You need better filters, stronger boundaries, deeper alignment, people who get you. Because when your sensitivity is supported, it becomes your greatest gift. You become the person others turn to, the one who sees what no one else sees, the one who heals, who holds, who inspires. So, what do you do with all the parts of yourself that you've silenced over the years? Well, you reclaim it. You go back, gather up every piece you gave away to be accepted, the voice you silenced. Speak again. The tears you hid, let them flow. The dreams you downplayed to be more realistic, dust them off. This is your homecoming. Your reminder you were never wrong being who you were. And I know it can feel purifying to show up unfiltered. The more you show up as the real you, the more the right people will start to find you. And the ones who can't handle it, well, they were never meant to be in your front row, if you know what I mean. Here's something that set me free. You don't need to be understood by everyone. You just need to be understood by yourself. Some people will never get you. They will never understand why you feel so deeply, or why you care so much, or why you just can't move on. Easy fix for that. Just let them go. Your job isn't to convince the emotionally unavailable how to love you. Your job is to love yourself so completely that their absence no longer feels like a loss, just feels like a detox. Stop grieving your rejection. Start celebrating your return to yourself. Here's the best part. People who are meant for you, they won't be intimidated by your death. They'll love it. They'll actually say, finally, someone who gets it, someone who doesn't just exist, but feels. They won't ask you to dim your light. They'll bask in it. They won't say you're too much. They'll say you're exactly what I've been looking for. So don't water yourself down for people who were never thirsty in the first place. The ones who are meant to drink from your well, they'll cherish every drop. If this message hit home for you today, drop me a comment and let me know. I really, really do care. I am not too much, and I am more than enough. Let's make that your mantra this week. Repeat it so you can hear yourself say it out loud. I am not too much. I am more than enough. If you're on a healing journey, please subscribe and like this video. Share it with someone else who might need to hear this today. This is your space to heal, grow, and finally feel safe in being just who you really are. You don't have to explain yourself anymore. You don't have to apologize anymore. You're not too emotional. You're not too intense. You're not too sensitive. You are a soul who feels and a hurt that loves, and a light that was never meant to be dimmed. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for feeling. Thank you for refusing to shrink. I do see you and I do honor you. So remember, you are not alone, and do go find your joy. And I'll see you in my next video.